Move to this now. SAA's disgraced former board chairperson Dudu Myeni is testifying in court today, and she's facing a delinquency charge brought forward by Outa and the SAA Pilots Association. Now, Myeni's denied all the allegations, including that she was appointed by former President Jacob Zuma, and she claims the allegations are lies, which are peddled by the media. Our reporter Heidi Jacques joins me now for more on this story. Heidi, good afternoon to you. So Myeni has finally arrived in court to tell her side of the story. The Emirates deal is in sharp focus, I understand, and she says she didn't block that particular deal.
Yes, Tumelo, believe it or not, Dudu Myeni arrived in court this morning. When she was walking up to the stairs, she was actually waving and greeting everyone. She was in very good spirits. And when the evidence was brought forward and her testimony started off this morning, the Emirates deal was brought into sharp focus. And that was a code-sharing agreement that SA was set to have with Emirates, that was set to bring in over 1 billion rand, if I'm not mistaken, to SA per annum, and from the evidence that we've heard throughout the past 2 weeks, that deal collapsed, and the allegations are that Dudu Myeni collapsed that deal. However, Dudu Myeni has testified that she has been used as a scapegoat. The former acting CEO, Nico Besaidenote, alleged that he had received a phone call from Dudu Myeni from an instruction from President Zuma to cancel that deal immediately, and Dudu Myeni is saying that she did not do that, and that Nico Besaidenote did not get the shine to make sure that that deal was signed off, basically saying that he's basically sour at the fact that that deal didn't go through. And she's saying that everybody wants to blame herself and the former President Jacob Zuma about the Emirates deal not going through, and she says this is false information. She denies that allegation, and she says her name has been dragged through the mud by the media, and she's never had a voice. Let's perhaps listen to what she said earlier today.
Every other blame was Dudu or Zuma, which was quite unfortunate. I never had a voice. I still don't have a voice. Therefore, this was my voice to say, let's finalize, conclude this, but let's go through what I would be satisfied to say. I applied my mind. I exercised duty, care and skill. That is the responsibility of every board member. That is why today I'm an expert in governance, because I know you don't just see something that is presented to you, you put a stamp and say approved. So I know, I don't know, but this is an opportunity for me to say it is not true, my lady, that the Emirates deal was blocked by Dudu. It is not true, my lady, that SAA lost monies and billions of rands because we did not approve this.
So Heidi, just also alluding to the Emirates deal, Dudu Myeni also says the board has to make sure that no deal was detrimental to the airline.
Exactly, and Tumelo, it's important to note that all these questions that are being raised by her advocate Buthelezi, speaks to all the allegations levelled against her from previous witnesses, and one of them included the fact that Dudu Myeni would just make executive decisions without properly consulting the board. She would get involved with procurement deals, as we heard with the Emirates deal, and Dudu Myeni making it very clear that the board does not make the final call when it comes to certain deals, and that it's a collective decision. There are discussions, there are deliberations, there are review committees that are involved in these kinds of things. And she says that when it came to the Emirates deal, she needed to make sure that this was in the best interest of the airline to have this code-sharing agreement with Emirates. She says there were many concerns raised at whether or not this would eat up the market share of SAA, and she wanted to make sure that this would make sure that it would bring in some kind of money for SAA. So she's saying that the board needed to make sure they made proper decisions and that proper care and consideration was involved. Let's perhaps listen to what she said about that.
There are decisions that are presented to the board that needs the board to apply its mind to look at the best interest of the organization first and the national interest. This was quite a contentious matter that was presented to the board. And it is written by them, by the executives, that the board needed to approve the Emirates deal. Therefore, my understanding is that once a proposal of any sort, a partnership agreement, a deal, if I may, once it gets presented to the board, the ExCo would have also discussed it amongst themselves as the executives. And then when it comes to the board does not necessarily rubber stamps. The board applies its minds and exercises its duty and care to ensure that when we take a decision, it is not a decision that is detrimental to our own national career.
Now, also, Myeni, Heidi was also accused, I understand, of giving instructions directly to executives, but it seems she denies this.
She denies this as well, Tumelo. So, as I mentioned earlier, this is an opportunity for Dudu Myeni to put her version to the court, as Outa and the South African Pilots Association is seeking to declare her a delinquent director. So it's imperative for the court to hear her side of the story. And when it comes to the allegations of her giving direct instructions to executives, this has come up from all five witnesses, in fact, that testified for Outa and the South African Pilots Association, them saying that Dudu Myeni would give direct instructions to executives. She would get involved with procurement deals, and they believed as though she was not doing what her fiduciary duties stipulated. So she was denying this, saying she did not give direct instructions to executives. She says there would be extended board meetings where she would be deliberating with executives, with board members, to try and come up with a proper solution to ensure that there would be the best possible solution for SAA. So she's denied the allegation, and she says it's false and it's baseless. Let's listen to what she said about that.
You were in the habit, or did it frequently, to give direct orders to members of the executive. Do you accept that allegation?
I don't. It is not true.
Now,
may I?
Yes, you may.
My lady, when there is a need, for instance, we have acting CEOs, and I remember in one occasion where we had an extended special board meeting, which the CEO was allowed to invite the executives. So I'm saying that there were no direct instructions that would come from me straight to the executives.
Well, thank you so much, Heidi, for that update. That's where we leave it with our reporter, Heidi Jockers.